Well, Hillary Clinton, as we've said, has clinched the Democratic presidential nomination, winning a majority of the pledged Democratic delegates, undercutting one of Bernie Sanders' biggest arguments all along for continuing his campaign. So will his supporters back Clinton once it's clear that he has lost the nomination? Here now for our Democratic political panel, Democratic Ohio State Senator Capri Cafaro and Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall. Thank you so much for sticking around with us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Capri, I'll start with you this time around.
Sure.
Do you think that the followers of Bernie Sanders will eventually go toward Hillary Clinton?
Well, I think some of them will. But, you know, first of all, Bernie Sanders actually has to get on board and support Hillary Clinton. And I think until he does that, it's going to be very difficult for Bernie Sanders supporters to trust the fact that Hillary Clinton is going to carry the mantle of this progressive movement that Bernie Sanders has injected into the Democratic primary. So until Bernie Sanders decides that he's going to step aside and he's saying he's going to go all the way to the convention, the Bernie Sanders supporters that are out there are going to be, I think, hesitant to support Hillary Clinton until they actually see their leader, Bernie, do that himself.
And he was very careful in his speech this evening, and he did not even mention Hillary Clinton until the very end of it, about 15 minutes into it. And he also said, we will not, or the mission is more than beating Trump. It is transforming the country. Leslie?
Well, this is part of this revolution that Senator Sanders has. He has said, and I believe he means it when he says, every vote counts, and until the last vote is entered, I'm in this, and I'm going to be there at the convention. But I would also predict that Senator Sanders will embrace Hillary Clinton as the nominee, will support her, urge his followers to do the same, and they will have that hug that I think Democrats want and need to see for the unity of the party after the convention in July.
Capri, do you think that that will happen on Thursday? Bernie Sanders set to meet with President Obama, also set to meet with Harry Reid.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that President Obama and Leader Reid will do their absolute best to try to convince Bernie Sanders to step aside, at least maybe after the D.C. primary occurs next week, and try to unify the party before the Philadelphia convention happens. You know, it all remains to be seen. I think that it's going to be difficult. He's definitely, I think, going to have to stay in at least until next week's D.C. primary and then try to, quote unquote, reassess his campaign. As was mentioned earlier on the program, he's letting go a number of staff members. So I don't know how necessarily you're going to mount a continued campaign as you're reducing staff either.
Yeah, letting go of staff members, but not letting go of the idea of a revolution, Leslie.
Nope.
Oh, no, not at all. And I mean, he doesn't not only going to have half the staff, as Fox News reports, but he doesn't have the money, I mean, to keep it going. But like you said, Heather, this is something very personal to him. And I think he wants to hopefully going forward change that superdelegate process, this rigged process, as he calls it. And I think that he has some people, you know, standing up and paying attention. And that is, I believe, what Senator Sanders wants. And that's why he's taking it all the way. He's also said that. And maybe there's a tiny bit of ego involved as well.
But you know what? Hillary Clinton, she complained about the superdelegate system back in 2008. But then this time around, apparently, she learned how to play the game just a little bit better. Speaking of Hillary Clinton, speaking of her, she continues to struggle to recover as that FBI probe looms. But half of voters say that they will still vote for Clinton, even if she is indicted. Take a look at this poll. 50% say that she should continue running until the court determines her guilt or innocence. 43% say that she should immediately stop campaigning. So, Capri, does that surprise you?
A little bit. I mean, I think that there are certainly, particularly core Democrats, that I think probably see some of this email business as some, you know, the old vast right-wing conspiracy out to get Hillary Clinton. And obviously our judicial system is built to be, you know, innocent until proven guilty. At the same time, you know, it's definitely a hard pill to swallow to have somebody who is trying to be the leader of the free world under investigation and ultimately, you know, in this scenario, potentially indicted. So, you know, I think that there there are folks that are just hoping that this is not going to rise to that level. And I think that I'd be interested to see the poll if she actually did get indicted. Right now, it's theoretical.
Yeah, and perhaps one of those people hoping that maybe it does happen or thinking that it could be Bernie Sanders. Leslie, do you think that's another reason why he is sticking around?
No. I think that some of his supporters feel that way. I think Senator Sanders, knows a lot of people in D.C. and legal experts, just like we all do, that say, look, this is not going to come to an indictment. This is not going to be any kind of a charge of espionage. Obviously, we know that in our great nation, you're innocent until proven guilty. There have been no charges. I think a lot of people look at this as poor judgment, as reckless, questionable whether or not there was policy violated, but criminal. I don't think people feel there'll be an indictment, and that's why they're confident, and we see this poll, that she should continue on.
I don't know, but you have people being granted immunity. Ultimately, it will be up to the FBI to decide, and we'll see what happens. Thank you both for joining us. Capri Cafaro, Leslie Marshall, thank you.